Hey guys, Red here, and today we'll be doing a really interesting video, and I apologize if this video is really weird with the green screen and the lights. I'm still trying to get them all figured out. But yeah, today is a video about my top 8 list of webtoon webcomics. These are only ones I've read. I have not read all of them. If you have any suggestions or your own list, go ahead and comment them down below, and I'll feel free to look them up. But I do highly suggest everything, all the titles I'm about to say, even in the honorable mentions. The 4 of them, which being crushed by your crush, coming out to your parents, learning that your sister's your biggest date rival. High school sure does have its share of twists and turns and moments of high drama. To get through it all with your smile and sanity intact, you're gonna need some friends. Some really, really good friends. Friends like Johnny
Age matters.
She's a hopeless romantic who's turning 30 and is not happy about it. He's a recluse billionaire who's hired her to be his assistant, and he's not too happy about that either. Together they rewrite the rules of friendship, love, work, and the best way to clean someone else's apartment, even though nobody looks over the age of 20. Freaking romance. Brought to you by the same guy that brought you Nightmare Factor. Brings you freaking romance. A sexy supernatural story about being out on your own and finding your own dreamy apartment and discovering your new place is haunted by a handsome spectral stranger from another dimension. Sure, he can't see you and you can't touch him, but who said every relationship starts out perfectly?
Nothing special.
Now, Callie thinks that in the grand scheme of the world at large, she's nothing special. With the unexpected addition of friendship and adventure into her life, she's about to find out that she was very wrong. She was very, very wrong. Top 8 list we've all been waiting for, that you guys just heard of. Waffles and pancakes. Two best friends attempt to answer life's greatest mysteries, such as, what if butts had nipples? This is a story of fart jokes and friendship. May not be suitable for younger audiences due to strong language and sexual references. As in, kids, do not read. Honestly, I really like how it's a cute little story between two best friends, a male and a female. There's no romance between them. Now, you can see some of the reactions as romance, but it's not. It's a friendship between someone who's a goofy person and someone who's deadpan serious, and it's one of the most realistic comics I've ever read, because that is literally me with so many of my friends. They're serious and I'm not. It's really good. It's really great. I think the author does a great job of taking these characters and making them so realistic. All these have really good art. Their stories are wonderful. But one of the biggest things, that's why Waffles and Pancakes aren't any higher, is there's no overarching plot. For me, I love story. I love to have an overarching, it doesn't stop. It just keeps getting added to it. It doesn't have that. Now it has plots here and there, like 2-parters, 3-parters, whatever. Like the glitter one, for example. It doesn't have the bad guy, because there is no bad guy. It's like that medium wouldn't work out for that type of comic. So it's fine for what it is, which is great. And number 7, Nightmare Factory. A lonely insomniac writer fills her room with stories of strangers she eventually encounters. Her family vanishes overnight. The only evidence of their existence is her memories. To make sense of her world and why stories are written, her newly encountered friend and herself will read through a library worth of her handcrafted books, filled with tales of fantasy and adventures. I'm not a huge horror person. I've seen 2 horror films and that's it. I get squeamish. I do not do horror films. But to me, Nightmare Factory is not. I mean, it's a horror thing. Don't get me wrong. It is definitely horror. And that's one of the genres it's in, is horror. But I'm interested in the development of the characters. I'm interested in the story behind them. I'm interested in the characters And Snail Lords does such a good job getting me invested in the characters, in the lore of the universe, in everything. You always go back questioning for more. You always get questioned like, oh, what's going on? Every episode has more questions than it does answers, and it's just, there's clearly a story behind this, and it's great. With that being said, again, this person has great art on their comic, don't get me wrong. That all being said, the main reason it's so low on my list is number 7. It ended. It's not ended, but it's ended. It is on indefinite hiatus, which basically means they're not planning on bringing it back within any time soon. It's not finished, but they're not planning on bringing it back, which really sucks because it was so good. And yes, there was probably plot holes, there was probably inconsistencies, but it was a story. It's gonna have that. It's going to work. It's not going to be perfect. And one of the other issues I had, now I read it after almost a lot of them came out, but I think another big issue a lot of people had, and I had a little bit, was a lot of the time there was like months hiatus between each one, which is fine. It was unintentional, the author kept getting sick, but it was one of those, if you have hype up and you're questioning, they'll forget. So that's just a gripe that I have. I'm not saying I don't do that stuff, but I don't know, it's just my gripe and complaint. Number 6, Carl. Carl's a robot psych that suddenly becomes sentient. He starts longing to be human, but his creator and father figure, Dr. Alda, prevents him from showing his feelings out of fear of losing him. More challenges arise when Alda's arch nemesis sets out to destroy them both. Hey guys, Future Red, Editor Red here, and I just wanted to make sure that you guys are aware that the stuff I'm about to say is not critiques, but the way I phrased it sounded like critiques, and I wasn't sure to change the wording without sounding critiquing. But none of what I'm about to say are critiques. What it started off being not my top 10, not my top 8, but due to him changing it, like I'll say, changed it to my top 8. So I'm not complaining, I'm actually praising it, making sure that's understood. One of the reasons it's number 6 is it's super cute. It's a cute little story about 3 robots and their dad and human interactions. Now, one of the reasons so low on my list is it definitely jumps from being episodic. Oh look, Carl goes into a therapist, has a problem, he helps the person figure out what it is, end of story. That's what it started out being, which is still, the author had a way of making every comic he made unique. It was never repetitive, it was never, oh, that's ridiculous, or made sense. It was not. Then out of nowhere, you get long story arcs, which are, again, I like long story arcs, so I'm not saying I don't like it. You got long story arcs, you got questioning life and death, what's life, what's it mean to be human, you know, these great questions. But another issue I have is there's no character flaws. Now, you could consider the robots being childish, but they're not. They're designed to be therapists. Really think about it, kids are the best therapists. So him being childish, I don't see as a flaw, but it could just be me being picky. Now again, if you have any disagreements, or anything we want to discuss, you know where to put it. Number 5. Oh, 5. People are gonna yell at me no matter how I pronounce this, and I've never been able to pronounce words. Germound Hound. I want to know how to look up that word. I probably will put it in later. Germound Hound. Put on a little segment about what's about. Lucy, a woman who has an uncanny sense of taste and smell, discovers that her favorite restaurant has changed kitchen staff, and she does not know the identity of the chef whose cooking she's loved for years, when a lucky accident leads her to the 2 former chefs at Dermont's I don't know how to pronounce words. She decides that she will do her utmost to track down their old colleagues in order to rediscover that perfect taste. It's really adorable. It's really cute. Every character, every character, boy, girl, whatever, they just look adorable. And it's great. It's really cool. The dog is so realistic, so funny. Yes, there's a dog in this comic book. In this webcomic, if you like dogs, you should check it out. He's adorable and he's great. But yeah, definitely one that there's a long thing, and it's getting better even. Like, I wouldn't change it right now, and it's fine where it is at the second. But there's definitely, it's getting like, okay, alright. Now, I can't understand, due to the style of the way they did the comic, and what the overall plot is, and what she's going to achieve. Now, it's fun to introduce these characters, and I think these are great characters to introduce to the audience and whatnot, and they're just adorable. 4. Room of Swords. Unwilling time travelers must escape a time loop by collecting the boss swords from the 24 gods who inhabit their mysterious prison. That's your little thing. Okay, so one thing I haven't mentioned yet, except for with the Nightmare Factory, is these guys' genre. Now, the biggest thing about Room of Swords' genre is it is mystery and science fiction. At least that's what I base mine off. That's what it is to me, is mystery and science fiction. It is a mystery of what is this? Who made it? You know, basic questions like that, like a mystery would. Science fiction, because you have a cave woman, you have an astronaut, 20XX, you have a medieval, but yeah. So it's hilarious with the cave woman trying to respond to the astronaut and trying to understand things, and almost every episode had me laughing. Up to a point. I was reading this, I found this webcomic one night, I was reading it because I was a little bit bored. The next morning I finished it. Now, it was only, I want to say 50 episodes by the time I was reading it. So far right now it's at 60 and it's done with season 1. Which is great. It's set up what season 2's issue gonna be, but it hasn't. But it has. Which, oh, what are you gonna do? You don't know, which is the best part about it, because you don't know what's gonna happen. Like, they could put a full 360 and you won't know till you read it, which is great. The two people doing this comic is wonderful because they have, I believe they have a kid. And they're doing all this, and it is a wonderful way of like telling a story, and they clearly have set up this story from years ago, and they're not still writing it, but they still may be like adding like, oh, what if we did that? Great. These two people working on nonstop, and I think that is fabulous. That is awesome. You know, plus being parents, it great on them. Characters adorable, human reactions are adorable. Because it's like all realistic. Number 3. Now, the top 3 is one of the hardest I had to pick through, because the top 3 for me was the hardest to pick through for the next 3. Okay, which I think I'm repeating myself, but you get the point. Number 3 is the Let's Play. She's young and single and about to achieve her dream of creating an incredible video game. But then life throws her a 1-2 punch. Popular streamer gives her first game a shattering review. Even worse, she finds out that the same troubling critic is now her next door neighbor. A fun, sexy, all too real story about gaming, memes, and social anxiety. Come for the plot, but stay for the doggo. He's a fluffy doggo. Now, I was reading this before Comic Drake released a video about webtoons and Let's Play, but that just made it all better for me, because I was like, hey, someone else, he brought up some great points, and I'm going to bring up the similar points, It's relatable. I get it. I understand where Marshall comes from. Now, I'm not saying I'm big. I'm not saying I'm big like him at all. Absolutely not. But it's something once you get into this little YouTube community, you can kind of understand a little bit. And go, okay, I see where he's coming from. Okay, I see what he's doing. Alright. I get it. Pushing yourself to make sure you do the best you can, different stuff like that, it's the anxiety of uploading a video. It's great, really. Which I don't mind romance. I'll admit it. I'm a straight guy that doesn't mind romance. Shoot me down. But yeah, I actually really enjoy Let's Play. I think it's a great comic. Everyone should go check it out. Now, number 2, Unordinary. Nobody paid much attention to John. Just a normal teenager at high school where social elite happens to possess unthinkable powers and abilities. But John's got a secret past that threatens to bring down the school's whole social order, and much more. Fulfilling his destiny won't be easy though, because there's battles, frenemies, and deadly conspiracies around every corner. Now, I love superheroes. And, you know, me and Taz even did a video, which I haven't released because I haven't gone around to editing all of it, about My Hero Academia. So I've seen that show. I love that show, that anime. So this has a similar setup to that. I think it's an amazing comic. The author always keeps us on our toes, keeps us wondering what everything is. I like how they keep revealing little snippets about what every character, even if they only appear for a little bit. I think that's great. It flows so well. It's like one cohesive story, and clearly they set it out. And everyone's just kind of adorable. Even the bad guys, I don't really mind, which is funny to say. Like, they're not bad guys. They're antagonists. Well, okay. There's 2 bad guys. I mind one of them. I don't mind the other. And I don't want to spoil too much because I want you guys to go in with fresh minds of it. But I don't mind. Yeah, I don't really mind the king. Now, those who have read it knew exactly what I'm talking about. Those who haven't, you need to read it. Sierra, I don't know how to pronounce her name either. I'm probably gonna get yelled at in the comments. Sarah. It's Sierra. Sierra goes from against John to being a great friend of John, and I think that is great. I think it's something that's realistic, and that'd be something that would happen nowadays as well. So good for the author. Now, number 1. My favorite webtoon of all time, as of right now, is Super Secret. What would happen when the boy next door and your best friend for life turns out to be a werewolf? Now, why did I pick this for number 1 versus anything else? 1, it's finished. There's a full story about what they're trying to tell me. It lasted for 132 episodes. It went on for the 132 episodes. It made sense the entire way through. And I believe I read the English dub, which I don't know if that's the real version or not, because I've read some places it is, some places it isn't. So I may not have read the real version, which to me I don't care. I still read it. It's just because you listen to English dub of something does not mean that it's not the real version. So to me that's fine. My favorite genre is fantasy. So it's werewolves and witches and warlocks and magic, and I think that's great, especially when done well. Like, art is adorable, the characters are fantastic. Like I said, it's a full, completed story, so it's not, I'm not still waiting for episodes. I know what's going to happen. I can reread it now. I actually have before. I've reread it from before it stopped. But it's, actually all these on the list I would not mind rereading. There's no villains when you really think about the story, which is fine to me if done well. And I think this story did the no villains well. I think it definitely did. Oh, there's no villains. Good, that's life. There's no villains in real life. Now you may say there is, but really there isn't. You know, it's not really villains. They're not bad guys. They're bad guys. There's a difference here, Wreck-It Ralph. You fall in love with almost all the characters. I cannot think of a character off the top of my head that you do not fall in love with. And that's just because of how well they're written. And how well detailers pay attention to them. That you can go, oh, that's who you are. Okay. Alright. Okay. And understand everything about the character. Even if you just picked it up somewhere. Now, again, that's my top 8 list. You guys should definitely read or even look into any of these. Now again, if you guys have any that I've not talked about, go down and tell me all about them. List down name, list down bio of them, the plot of them, whatever. If you guys want, we can also even do a video where it's me against someone else. Real versus fake. I list a real webtoon bio and you guys tell me a fake one. If you guys want to do that, we could do that too. But anyways, guys, that is it for me. Thanks for everything. Bye!